Hear ye, because I don't know, I didn't shout it. Okay, good evening, thank you for joining us at the Ogden Valley Planning Commission. It's March 24th at 6 p.m. and I would like to start. I'm so glad to see all of you. And I don't know if I have some disappointing news for you or not. I don't know if you guys got the memo that the public hearings for tonight had to be canceled because there were some flaws in the noticing requirements. And it's really important to us to make sure, one, that we do things legally, but more importantly, that all of you have the ability to have the notice you need to have all the documents so you can review, because we really want your public input. We are your we are your appointed citizen planning commission. And it's our job to make an independent recommendation that we will then provide to the city council, and they will take our recommendation and they will decide what to do. They can either accept it, modify it, or reject it. But the fact that there were some flaws in that notice, for example, I think one of the flaws was if you went to the QR code and to get you to the agenda and the documents, unfortunately, the QR code took you to the agenda for the meeting that was back on March 17th. You couldn't get to the documents, and that's not fair to you. Because that mistake happened, this is our first time. Everybody that's working on this is trying really hard, and mostly we're trying really hard to get it right for everybody in this valley. That's why we did this, and that is our goal. So if you are here tonight hoping to comment based on the public hearings, that's not going to happen tonight. It's going to happen on March 31st. All the corrections have been made to the notices. New notices went out. All of the documents are posted on the Utah Public Notice website and the new website for Ogden Valley City. You can find all of those documents there. They are neatly organized by item that will be reviewed and public comment taken. And in each file is a summary page that explains what is in the documents. Okay, so we are absolutely hoping that you will look at those documents and read them so that you understand what our recommendation is going forward. And then you have two ways that you can make public comment. There is an email that's for you to provide written public comment. You can write your comments, what you feel, and submit that to that email. And Brian, our planner, and his amazing team will collect all of that information and synthesize it, provide it to the planning commission so we can read your comments before the meeting on the 31st. Then you also have the ability to come to the meeting on the 31st. It will begin at 5:00 p.m. and we will go till we are done taking your public comment on each particular item. And if we have a full house, which might be expected, we want to hear from the public, then we would have to limit the amount of time that each person can speak publicly. So if it's full and we limit that comment, limit your time. Before that, please send your written comments in to that email address so we have them, your full thoughts. We don't want to cut you off and say, your 2 minutes are up, you can't keep talking. Because that doesn't feel good to you or to me, but we have to move along. And so the knowledge, letting you know now, there's an email for you to provide all your comments in writing, and then still come provide it in verbal form here at the public meeting. Okay, then if for any reason your property is, if something changes with your property on the zoning map, there are a few changes to the zoning map. The zoning map is in the file, so you can see it. And you can read the summary about what things were changed to the zoning map. And then you'll be able to see, you will get a special notice if your parcel is affected in any way on the zoning map. So, and you will get an extra 10 days after the public hearing, during which you can make comments there. Did I say that accurately, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So, the agenda today is not the agenda that includes public hearings. You're all welcome to stay if you want, but I want to make sure you know that in case you would like to do something else for the evening. But
What you're talking about is all this ordinance changes,
Yes,
including the FR3,
FR3, yes,
and we're not discussing any of that tonight.
not tonight, it's gonna be the public hearing, and all those documents are posted so that you can review them and understand what those changes are before you come to the meeting to talk about them. Cause I don't think you've had a chance to see what the changes, what changes are proposed. So, yes, that will be on the first. The public hearing, all the documents are posted now, so you can read them and look at them and make written comments and still come. Yes, sir.
I'm not computer literate.
Okay. How can we help, how can we help folks? That's fair.
All of the information that's in the packet and provided on the website is available. No, all of the information is available at the town office.
Oh,
There's a paper copy to review at the
There
town
you go.
office if you
What
don't.
town
want to.
office are we talking?
the Ogden Valley City Town Office is over in the shop building next door, just across that way from the parking lot. If you go outside and go that way, the Huntsville Town has been gracious enough to give the city a space to use. And so our councilmen, our council persons staff that with office hours, and there will be hard copies there for you to come in and look at. Does that help?
Can you write all that information that you get on a computer and so I can read it?
Oh, it will be documents that you can read. The documents are there so you can read them. They'll be printed out.
So
This
you can
size.
write it down on a piece of paper for me?
Can I write all
I
of
have they create copies for you then.
this? Yeah,
Because I know people or my side of the valley have had trouble getting on the internet to look at this from this address on this card.
That's
Okay.
why we had to postpone.
that's why we had to postpone. And now we think they should easily be able to get there. And if they're still having trouble, they can come over to the city office and see the documents in hard copy.
I don't understand a word you're saying.
Okay, I'd be happy to walk you over and show you, and give you the office hours. And if you wanted to do a quick, see the website and show maybe some of the folks how to get there,
Okay?
would you like to go? I'll show you where it is.
So guys, I have a question. We did provide an update to the website probably about a week ago, right? On Friday. So has everybody signed up for the auto notifications? Did you get those?
Thank you.
You might want to do that.
My wife,
And we can also give that information to them because it's unfortunate that you kind of made the trip tonight, but that has been out there now for a few days, that we had to push them back.
And we apologize. We're new. So we're back.
Yes, sir.
So if the agenda, is the agenda, gonna be discussing the ordinances, the changes, as long as we can't public comment, or the agenda is completely different?
Today's agenda is different. Today's agenda is different.
Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, it is. Review and discuss edits to design standards and consider whether to approve those for release and to the public and for review of public comment. And that would be for a second public hearing that we would anticipate will take place on April 14th. But that's not set in stone yet. Review and discuss edits to the sign standard. Review and discuss edits to general implementation and Planning Administration. And review and discuss any edit to F540 zone. And consider whether that is ready to go, be moved on for public comment. Review and discuss, if time permits, we have a nice long list to keep going if we have enough time and get through things. Review and discuss edits to the shoreline, if time is permitting. None of these things are ready to be moved forward for public comment yet, so this evening we'll be discussing, and you're welcome to stay and listen. We won't be taking public comment today because in the interest of time and getting through everything, we will be discussing and getting ourselves ready to make a recommendation that we are ready for it to have you guys look at and make public comment on.
Well, see the website.
Yeah, you ready to do it?
Let's show the website.
So the website address is ogdenvalley.gov. And once you get here to the homepage, to get to the information for that public hearing, you come over here and use an events. And then, back here to see the public notice of meetings, and I did it by date, so we were told it would be top, so. For the hearing on the 31st, just click the meeting information box. It'll give you the full agenda, the Zoom link, if you guys are on the Zoom and wanna see it again. And then at the very bottom is all the documents that Lisa and the team created. For their things, sorry, I don't understand it now.
Okay, and so when each one of those is a link that takes you to the documents for that specific item. That's the general plan, is it?
Yes,
Okay, so the link she clicked is
sorry, FP3.
oh, yeah, that's FB3. Okay, so that is, the link takes you to that Forest Valley Zone, FB3, and you can see what changes have been made, and then there's also a summary page that explains that for you, and there's a link for each one of the items that will be reviewed and take public comment.
And just to make sure, the changes that have been made based on the previous code of Weaver County, right?
That was the model that we started with. Was what was currently in the Weaver County Code, and it's the same code that was reviewed when during the process of becoming a city. There were a whole lot of meetings, mostly at the library. They were the transition team meetings where people could come and go over those codes and talk about it and give their public input at that time. So that as we look at these, we're also looking at the comments that the citizens made during those meetings and using that information to help guide us as well as our own research. And then we're putting together a proposal that we are then sending out to get more public comment on. Does that make sense? Yes.
Where's the website one more time?
Yeah, sure.
ogdenvalley.gov.
And where's the easiest place to sign up for notifications?
So there's two places you can do it. There's a Utah public meeting website, and it will send you guys an email every time a new meeting gets posted. And then we also have to do. We have this contact us button. If you get it all filled in, it'll just add something on the screen. Yeah, sorry for understanding, guys. So on our website, we have we have this little contact us button right here in the top corner here. If you get it all, it's a get you have the email list, you guys get all the other things we send out, right?
I can't answer the website and stuff like that, but it's just, I'm not know anything about the
So
website.
I think, thanks, communication, committee does want that to be, and it goes out, you know, the best.
So can you show them the link to where they can sign?
This is mine. You have other, this is on the website, there it is, oh, that's on the website.
This is on our website, and the other is on the Utah Public Notice website.
So this is the Utah Public Notice website, is there a link to the Public Notice website on our website?
Yeah.
There she.
It's okay, that, but what she had up was the Utah Public Notice website, so if you Google Utah Public Notice. But, it will take you there, and then it will, if you scroll down. You'll find, what is it?
They'll subscribe.
So, to subscribe, but before you get there, you'll need to, don't
Yeah,
need to go to municipality.
You have to choose Huntsville.
You have to find municipalities and then Ogden Valley City, so the government type is a municipality. On the comment on the column on the left. You'll scroll down until you find municipality, click municipality, then scroll down until you find Ogden Valley City right there. And then go to planning commission and for ours and city council for theirs. If you want the information on both, you have to subscribe twice. Once to the city council, once to the planning commission. I didn't know that either, and I wondered why I wasn't getting notifications for my own meetings, but it's a learning curve, guys. This is we're just all trying to learn together, but we're really working hard to do the very best job we can for you. Okay, thanks. Okay, any more questions about the confusion of the evening before we do the Pledge of Allegiance and take a moment of silence and dig into this agenda that we have for the day?
Yeah.
No more questions?
Good, now it's received.
Oh, you're gonna go?
I am.
Okay, thanks for dropping by.
It's great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right, could I ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Please start next, I don't believe in this. Here you go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We now like to take a moment of silence. Thank you very much. All right. First item of regular business is approval of minutes. Do we have any minutes to approve yet? I haven't seen any.
I sent 2 minutes to you this over the weekend, but I don't think you distributed them.
I didn't see them. There was a lot of them.
So if you didn't distribute them, we can't talk about them.
Okay, so then. All right, I didn't see them. So I
the
will,
minutes from the 10th and 17th are ready
okay,
for your review and approval.
great, thank you. All right, moving on to item B of regular business. Review and discuss edits to design standards and consider to approve for release to the public for review and comments. The items that we are going to talk about today and may or may not be ready to move forward are Title 108-1 design review, Title 108-4 conditional uses, and Title 108-14. Based on Ryan's request that we do some readjustments to get some things taken care of that he said were really important for him to move forward with the ordinances that are going to public hearing. So let's take a look at those and see what we think we can do.
So which ones?
Let's start with design review, Title 108.
You want us to go to your most recent comment?
I think we have a working copy that is there. Design standard, there's a working copy. that's in there. Shoot, what are you? Of one design review. Find it,
So in here, you gotta go down. The thing is, my working copy doesn't have Kurt. That's it.
gosh, I hope mine does.
I'm gonna go to yours.
If you look at the top right, maybe just click the comments.
Yeah, it's not comments, but it's,
I hope I know.
So.
Make sure where we need to be, where I need to probably make sure I've got the right version.
we've got things.
Which way?
I'm one away point.
This is the one.
This is the one you trying.
This thing's, that's all I'm saying. I don't think that one wasn't how it was working, which things we do.
I think
It's
that's
not a title working copy.
yeah. Thanks.
Okay, well,
Based off of what showed the trouble screens like problem, so.
oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. I'm gonna use your top back. Maybe.
Okay, this chapter, as I mentioned before, this chapter is primarily procedural,
Right,
just on how.
Yeah.
Um,
and there were,
you know, how we review applications.
yeah,
And deal with exceptions to certain rules,
right,
that sort of thing. So there's no language in here that's really going to create any specific design standards that an individual home builder or
so
Property
there
owner.
were a couple of comments, yeah, that I'm sure all of you saw. Based on the transition team comments, a question at harmonious, and that's been, redefined.
So you're looking at comments right now.
There was a comment on whether this specifically applies to single family homes, and the comment was it did not. But is Alex Jones one of your staff?
yes.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, if you see comments from Alex or Derek or Amy, those are my teams.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on this particular document that they now with the, the pretty minimal changes that were made based on those comments? Does anybody have any, want to draw their attention to anything that they feel we need to talk about in this one?
No, but I kind of do want to get that ambiguity between like a subdivision or a single family home. It feels a little bit like convoluted in here.
Okay.
So if it doesn't apply to single family homes, then I think the wording's got to reflect that.
Okay, there is a statement. Trying to remember where it was. There is a statement where it starts talking about things like.
Is it an application? It says all applications for occupancy permits or building permits for all multifamily over 8 dwellings.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 1, yeah, under 108-1-2 application and review.
Yeah.
Who is that what you're looking for? No. No, it's different. Okay. I'm on page
And
1.
certainly we have certain review requirements for single family homes that are different from.
Yes, there's a whole different section.
Multifamily and commercial and things like that. Um, unit developments. It's better.
Would it be okay to,
There-
under purpose, to just say this does not apply to single family homes?
Some of them do though.
Oh, okay.
That's
There
the
you
key.
go.
And there is,
I just like them mashed together.
I should say, we'll try to find shipping, but just switching out the little clear definition of, this is not even someone just throwing that house versus. They're all sort of.
Yeah. This read a little bit more development to me,
Yeah, but it's just gonna. Like
and
later.
every once in a while you get a little bit of single family home in there.
Well, I need to say there are some places where it does apply to single family homes, so that
I know that the words are, I'm not saying it doesn't say single on the document well,
It says residential.
residential.
yeah. And where it says recreation resort uses, we don't have that R1 zone anymore because it moved out with our
yeah,
boundaries.
any of
Is
that
it still,
DDR,
should we keep those words, recreation resort uses, or is that something that should come out since we don't have? We don't have that as a zone, but this doesn't necessarily say the zone.
yeah, well, I mean, we don't have the DRR zone, but we do allow certain resort type uses in other zones.
Okay, I'm not a problem with that at all. Because they're fine in the other zones.
Okay,
Is there any wording, Terry, you feel like we need to add, so?
no, I can't find my own comment from it, so I'm gonna have to step aside, I think.
So any other comments on this, or does anyone want to, I would entertain a motion, to-
I'm just encouraging everyone.
Hey, this is Fred. I had a comment.
Yeah, Fred, thanks, glad to hear.
Could we add under landscaping that impervious surfaces would be limited to a maximum of 60% or less? Or limited to 60% or less?
Brian, is that something that goes here, or is that something that would go in the landscape design section?
So, yeah, that's not something for this review process. That's more of an actual standard that should be designated
In that standard?
under either landscaping standards or, if we're talking about general site design.
There are some pretty specific things about landscaping here though, so.
Yeah,
Right.
under section 108-1-4, they do talk a lot about landscaping, and they're talking about maximum of 50%
Greening
or
ground.
minimum of 50% of what did it say on grass? I mean, there's a lot of numbers in there. Turf grass, if used, shall be limited to no more than 50% of landscaping, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just, to me, it seems like
Yeah.
an impervious surface limitation would fit in this quite well.
Okay. Brian, can you do that, since I think he's right, I feel like that there are some details that pertain to landscaping. Is that,
I want to ask Fred, where did you come up with 60%?
It had been recommended to me by a resident. And it seems reasonable to me too.
Okay.
So Fred, so there is a reference to xeriscape procedures, would that fall under that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't specifically say xeriscape, but
Okay.
it talks about drought tolerant plants and such, so, it looked fairly legit to me with respect to that kind of thing. I don't know. What do you, yeah, I'm good with putting that in there, following xeriscape procedures.
Brad, did you see what Brian just typed in there? Is that
Yeah,
satisfactory?
yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Tyson, Commissioner Lloyd would like to make a motion to move design review, chapter 108-1 for public comment review.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right,
Okay, thanks, Fred. All right. Move on to Title 108 conditional uses.
Okay, again, this is procedural language that discusses how conditional use permits are applied for, how conditional uses are granted in terms of what types of conditions may be placed on the use in order to make it acceptable, compliant, how they're enforced, and then how they're appealed or removed.
Okay, as we went through these, did anybody have any things that jumped out at them? One of the things that I know that jumped out to me was culinary water and sanitary sewer or septic verification shall include feasibility letters. I feel like we need something stronger than feasibility letters. Because I think we need something stronger. We need to know that that water is there. I know we're trying to put together a requirement that water, that actual water is available.
so
Wet water is available as part of the application process. But as a, I think that anywhere we're going to talk about without water, I don't feel like the fact that we want evidence of wet water, I don't think that is, and I don't feel like that matches with saying a feasibility letter. And so, I don't know what you guys think. I don't feel like feasibility shows us that they've actually got the water, they can turn the faucet on, how many uses can they have?
So how have we worded that in some other?
I don't know that we have that yet for some of those things, do we, Brian? How that actual language is gonna be, how they provide evidence of that culinary water and.
But we've had that they've had to show proof from all of the water companies.
No, what this is, that was.
So in order to receive a building permit, they have to be able to demonstrate that either they are providing water and an approved septic system on site, approved through the health department, and then they have a permit from the state water engineer to drill and operate their own well, and then a permit from the health department stating that the well is safe and that their on-site septic is appropriate. If they don't get however, if they are within the service area of a water or sewer company, they have to show the will serve letter from the water company or the sewer company stating that yes, we'll provide service to this property. That's required in order to receive a building permit.
Right, okay.
So,
but we have talked multiple times about the will serve letter we don't think the will serve letter is sufficient, and we want proof of wet water, and that has something. I've been researching that, EDUs to know exactly, how many EDUs do they actually have right now for how many, whatever it is they're going to build, And the EDUs and something else says how much that is, because a will serve letter means it isn't as strong, and we've heard from lots of comments from the public, from the mayor and the city council, that that's very important. And so how is that coming to fruition? So we have that. I know we talked about it happening at the application process, that their application wouldn't be accepted until they have that. I think, doesn't a building permit come after the application gets accepted?
The application for what?
To subdivide or to whatever they want.
Yeah, well, yeah, the building permit comes after that. Subdivision approval also requires proof of water. So we're requiring that as part of our new subdivision language.
Right?
So that would come prior to a building permit.
But how does,
But-
I don't understand how feasibility then, how do we back up to feasibility? That culinary, it's feasible to have that culinary.
Okay, so this is for a use of the property, whether it is a permitted use or a conditional use. In order to build a structure to do it that would be served by the water, they would have to have a building permit, and the building permit requires these proofs.
But feasibility is different than proof.
It is,
Can we change the?
Can we change, yeah, a letter of proof or something, because feasibility is different than proof. And if proof comes with application, then proof should already be there when they come to the building permit, but it is a second opportunity to double check and make sure that the proof is there. If they have to show that proof again, not just that it's feasible to get that, if they, do enough fancy dance.
that's true.
How can we get rid of feasibility and make that proof?
Well, we can just change it to proof of access to water.
Proof of water. It seems like I don't have as much of an issue with the sanitary sewer piece. That's gonna come from the health department, and that's gonna be there, the water, the feasibility of, it's the water. That do they have it, or is it gonna take a bunch of navigating and pipes? Yes, Aaron, what do you think?
Can we not just simply say culinary, water and sanitary or septic verification shall include letters from the applicable water and sanitary sewer or septic agency?
Well,
Just
not
take
exactly.
feasibility out.
Or just do
Not-
letters?
They are required to get the proof of wet water, so that's already a letter. So you just need to say, shall include the letter from the applicable water and
Well, I
sanitary.
think that
sewer
that has-
agency.
Are we ensuring that water, that letter has been validated by a water, like the sources of where the water?
Yeah, it has to come from the water provider.
Yes,
This
but
is just explaining the procedure of what you have to do. So step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, you must get a letter that verifies that you're gonna have water and sewer and septic from the applicable water, sewer and sanitary entities or agencies. So it's just, it's kind of like a bullet statement saying, okay, check, I did this, check, I did this, check, I did this. That's already there in the other precedes the other ordinances.
I think the problem is that, there's been a little bit of a history of the letter not explicitly stating that it's wet.
But we've already addressed that in the different zones and the different ordinances. This is just saying you have to have that letter from them according to those zones, correct?
It is.
Okay, we're covering all our bases then.
You just take out feasibility.
So for example, if in order to have that water delivered, negotiations have to happen between different entities, or pipelines have to be actually put in, are those, have we cross-checked that? To be sure that wet water means if they turn the faucet, it's there and ready to go, that there isn't other infrastructure or other things that have to be navigated in order to actually have that happen, because sometimes then that goes back and gets tied up in disagreements or things like that.
How about we change feasibility letter to state that culinary water, sanitary sewer, septic verification shall include proof of capacity to provide service from the water or sewer provider.
Sounds good.
That sounds better. Okay, great.
It tightens it up a little.
You saw.
Yeah, you never really sign.
Well, I'm slow, but I get there.
Page 3.
He's working on it. Let's see, let's let him get it in there and make sure we let.
Okay, yep. Well, a capacity assessment letter.
Right here, where is something?
I got that extra S in there.
Page 3.
Keep in mind, this is for conditional use too, this isn't for
It's okay. It's okay.
a whole subdivision.
Well, conditional use is going to be approved if they can meet all conditions, and so.
Right.
It's important that we have the pieces, I think, anyway, it's important that we have those pieces, everybody else. Can certainly weigh in, but I like that language, Brian, I think that, do you guys like this language?
Yeah, I think
That's fine.
Okay, all right, any other? Anything else here that is coming to your attention? Terry, I know that you said will or may, and it's like. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I'm not pulling up a copy that's showing any of my comments, so. I don't know why. I'm so constantly waiting.
Oh, that's never mind, it's been correct, it's been changed. Okay, anybody else, are there other items here? No,
I thought this one was pretty clean, I don't think.
I think. Other than that,
Yeah,
these,
did you guys see anything that jumped out at you?
No.
Can you explain the capacity assessment one?
It would be a letter from the service provider detailing showing the math behind their ability to provide services.
The internet would show that that's like a capacity, like a mental capacity.
oh, no, there's
There's soccer or something like that.
Yeah.
they're probably.
Well,
I only got a clause
I
here.
mean, a feasibility letter could be the same thing. It could show the math that demonstrates that it is feasible for them to provide services. Feasible being a synonym to demonstrate,
Yeah,
you
But
know.
within land use, that's a common.
If I understand why you want to set
Yeah.
a firmer
thank you.
line. We don't want to put anybody in the position of making an investment in a property and finding out later that they can't receive services.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Anything else before I entertain any?
Anything else?
I, Commissioner Sugar, make a motion to move chapter 108-4 conditional uses for public
review for public hearing.
I'll second.
Thank you, Fred.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Hey, the third one on our, of those lists is 108-14 investment sites. There's a lot to this one, and there are a lot of comments in here. A lot of comments from the transition teams. And some of those really have to do with, in my estimation, that a lot of the comments from the transition team talked about limiting development on steeper slopes. As I researched many ordinances for hillside slopes, all of those talked about slopes at 25 to 30%. And so I take some pause with the 40%. Looks like Brian has made some adjustments to that I didn't have a chance to see. Is that taking out some of the 40% that it's lined out when I get to applicabilities? Let's see, 15 to 20%. That's the geotechnical applicability was it's now stricken. The slopes of 30 to 40% shall provide geotechnical report. That's all stricken. So was that based on some of the, oh, that's you.
I submitted that.
Oh,
And then he replaced it with these steep slope development standards beneath that.
Oh, okay.
So a little background on that
Yeah, I know
is
that.
the risk potentially, if we just say you can't build on X amount and someone has to build big lots, then it could be a takeover, right? We're saying we cannot, you thought you could build a house on that property, we no longer can. So this wording, if you was wanting them to read it, that's very good. Would suggest that you should not build on that if you have, we should not subdivide properties that don't have buildable areas under 30% slope. But if there are existing parcels that already have that they could, so long as they have proven geotechnical surveys and all that. It was essentially trying to dance around, yes, I agree if we do not want people building on steep slopes, but trying to also make sure legally we're protected.
Do we have built on 40% slopes currently?
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
I don't know how to
Yeah,
measure that.
right. So
The home, so one of the challenges is the home itself is probably not built. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, and where there's enough money, there's often a will. And so, somebody can pay an engineer enough to tell them, yeah, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And so somebody could come up with ways to build on 40%. There are ways to build on 40% of greater slopes. I doubt sincerely if any of those have been tried. Even in Ogden Valley, they're very expensive, but
So when I reviewed, I could not find one single ordinance out there anywhere that allowed people to build on a 40% slope. I didn't find any. And and the reasons were erosion and mudslides and damage to homes, and there were some pretty important health and safety reasons in every single one of the ordinances that I was able to find and review. And all of those limited development to between 25 and 30% with articulation of all of those concerns. And I just couldn't find an example where anybody said, yeah, 40%, above actually,
Well,
30%.
Weber County says development above 40% is prohibited. So Weber County has
But-
already historically prevented 40%. Now 30 to 40% is
But
part of the
I don't
problem,
find it,
but-
but I'm not saying, I mean. I'm not seeing anybody else who says that 30 to 40% is reasonable. Now, I understand that we would have to find some other workaround. If we have a parcel there, that then it becomes, you know, they already have a parcel and they're not going to be allowed to build on at all, because there's no place on their lot that they can build that's not 30% or lower. And then we would have to have some sort of an exception, so we are not rendering their entire parcel unusable. I do recognize that.
Yeah.
But
There is a provision later in the doc, in the ordinance,
the
to determine buildable area, and as long as you, even if 50% or 80% of your property exceeds the slope, as long as you have a certain square footage of buildable area, you are entitled to.
so can we
Build
make
on that.
this, can we find a way to, and maybe if you can explain to me that it's already phrased that way, that what is built cannot be built on a slope greater than 30%. If their parcel has a place where they can build on 30% slope or less, and other areas of their property are steeper slope, then I think that's a different matter. I think it still would require those geotechnical surveys and assessments, but is there a way to craft this so that a building, whatever, is not built on a greater than 30%
Just say
slope?
no building above 30%.
Okay, and then if the parcel has another area that's steeper, that's part of their property.
Yeah, the building itself can't be on 30%, but it needs to be on a lesser slope,
But you have to address access to that buildable area.
and access is a whole different thing, yeah.
Is that in here, or is that in the access, is that in when we talk about roadways? Because I think that when they talking about erosion and, the stability for mudslides, do we,
And
I-
visual, there's one.
and the visual aspects and the aesthetics that are part of our
Yeah.
general plan, I don't know that we want, roads, and then we get a mudslide and all roads get washed out and we have to fix them because we allowed those to go in, and currently have a brand new road that I took a drive by the other day. And it hasn't been in that long, and we had a couple of good rainstorms, and that road's already washing out, and it's now the city that is going to have to fix that road, and it wasn't on a slope.
So Brian, in some of the zones we already reviewed, we said 25%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
would love to drop it down to 25.
yeah,
Well, maybe then if we wanna be consistent, we wanna say 25%, and then we can get the feedback on the public comment. That's the process, and if we need to, if based on the public comment, we wanna increase that. But I'm looking at the comments here. From the transition team, and the comments from the transition team are talking about that level, and then the place that really gave me pause was farther down at the bottom in these graphs that have graphs that talk about the square footage minimum for lots that went up past 30%, 31 to 35%, 36 to 40%, and 41 and over. I
But if we're
kind
gonna
of think
do
I
that,
would like that taken out, like stop at 25 to 30 and
Yeah.
take the rest of those out. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
the other thing that goes hand in hand with this are the ridge lines we talked about.
Yeah, I mean-
So, you have a slope, we don't want homes at the very top,
And
I think Portland was
It's
going
going to
to.
be looking for some information for us to address ridge lines. That's not a part of this
No,
ordinance.
I understand, but I'm just saying they're kind of related.
They are related for sure.
I agree to take out the graphics that don't comply with what we're determining our standards to be.
And to match the zones that we've already put forward for public comment. Well, I know I talk a lot, who else
So-
wants to, also I have to
So
say.
what I'm hearing is you want to prohibit development on slopes exceeding 30%.
And then I heard 25%, because we have 25% in some of the others.
Lisa sent us a whole bunch of ordinances from other towns.
Mhm.
And I read through all of them and almost all of them were 25%. And I feel really comfortable with that. But again, I'm with you. Let's put it out and see.
Well, that's what we have in those other zones.
And then zones.
Basically, the system.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just feeling 25% is maybe more doable.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
What do you think, Erin?
and then can you fix those tables, will you, down at the bottom, down here. These things.
Page 8, table 1, restricted
Nine,
size
bottom.
requirements.
Down at the bottom.
My solution is have to be very careful that the whole taking.
Yeah, but
I get,
sure.
I get
We
that.
all, yeah, I think we understand that, and then that's what public comment process is about, and then.
So I'm just gonna reiterate so I understand, you're proposing nothing, like, so 25% and less can be buildable.
Mhm.
And if we get a request from Brian and his team, update this chart to reflect.
Yes,
Reflect that wording, yeah.
and that makes it match what we have in the other zones where we said 25%. In the zones that are already out there for public comment. And so these would move forward and they would be consistent
Yeah.
with what's currently out there. And one of those ordinances that I sent you guys had a picture that showed, here's the slope and here's the percentages, and it was. That, I found that quite informative to look at that and
So
go.
maybe you want to include something like that. To me, it was helpful to look at, it, it was a visual to be able to see specifically what a percentage would look like.
Yeah.
I did, and I said, I included the, Brian should have with them, so, though, I don't expect that he had any time to look at those, he's been so busy. But.
So on page 1, Lee Shinchman made a request to change the wording from encouraging to requiring.
And I think that's been made,
Okay, let's see.
that change has been made, right?
Let's see.
We also have another comment that supports kind of what we're saying, says that the master plan calls for limiting development on steep hillsides also to preserve valley scenic character is. And that the proposal of the steeper, what these steeper hillsides, does that align, and I agree that it doesn't.
Well, I think that's part of our.
And that's part of our
Yeah,
reasoning, is that,
It could help, it'll bolster the master plan.
yeah.
So Brian, are you good with making those updates?
I almost wonder, you guys, that this is quite a bit that we're asking to have done. I would almost prefer, if anybody else agrees, to table this and look at it after he's able to make those changes. And then quickly maybe run it through at our meeting on the 30th.
Will that give us enough time? It'll show up on the 14th.
Yeah, everything to go to the meeting on the 14th has to be to Brian by April 1st. So we have 2 more meetings that we can add things to the queue to go out.
Okay.
Is there any reason why you can't just make those changes and we all review them before the review?
If he can make them and send them out to us so we can look at them beforehand, then I think we can do that by a consent agreement. We've all looked at it, we all agree, move it out. On the 30th, we would have to do that as a consent agreement. Brian, does that make sense to you? Can we do that?
So I mean, we're just talking about no development above 25%, changing those tables, and then were there any other changes?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at page 4, I put in a comment about at the top of the page. Retaining, yeah. It says retaining wall designs with engineer's stamp if applicable, so I'm like, who determines applicability?
And who's the engineer? Is it the city's engineer or the
Would be the
building?
buildings engineer.
Can we take out if applicable, or I don't understand.
If applicable just means like if they're gonna have a retaining wall. That's all that means. If they're gonna have a retaining wall, it has to be stamped by an engineer.
Okay.
That's all that means.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we need to do anything special other than writing up the updates the next time we meet.
I don't either.
Yeah, so Brian, can you make those and then shoot them back to us in an email so we can see it and then we've seen it, so it won't take any time, we won't have to really review it, we'll have seen it and we can say, everybody's seeing this, everybody good with this? Go.
Yep.
Is that okay? Alright, so I think then we are, I think I'm okay with if somebody wants to make a motion on that based on the.
I make a motion to table chapter 108.
Oh, no. Table it or move it forward with the changes we discussed.
Okay, explain this process.
Terry, you want to try to make a motion?
Yep, right.
Or Jim or Fred?
I should try. Commissioner Zanger moves to move this forward with the changes that were discussed with Brian Carter.
And those changes will be provided to the.
Oh, and the
Commission
changes will be
for review.
provided for the commission for review prior to our meeting on March 30th.
30th, so that hopefully we can
And then
move that on by consent.
then we can look at it and ask for consent agreement.
So are you moving it forward now?
We are moving it forward, subject to the changes that we discussed today. And then we want to see it and so that we have a chance to review it. Before we, and say yes before it goes, so Sharon, does that mean it's moving forward or moving forward
Moving
on the
forward,
30th?
moving forward is on the 30th. That's
Moving forward is on the 30th,
Don't know,
so
30th.
we're ready, yep,
So.
that's when we'll say yes. So the changes and then we will move it forward on the 30th after we have a chance to make sure we've reviewed the changes and yeah, just make sure that that's. He's probably gonna have it done by the time we get finished.
Yeah, you're not, you gotta moving it forward. I don't know. So she's presenting her, I'll.
Yeah.
Commissioner Zanger rescinds.
Okay. Okay, are we ready? You want to try again? I'll do it. Okay, Commissioner Schaefer makes a motion to table chapter 108.14 until the 30th of March. To move it forward.
It's the same thing.
Excellent, second.
So Jackson second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there you go. Oh, you got, oh,
Well, when you say table, does that mean that Brian doesn't have to?
no.
No, he can do
No,
it.
okay, this will give
Yeah.
staff will make the recommended changes and bring it back
We're
together.
not voting, we're bringing back for vote on the 30th. Okay,
We're giving you guys good stuff to talk about.
okay. We're moving faster than I'm glad we got that was done, I didn't know if we did win. Okay, next is Title 110, which is the sign ordinance.
Which is in the same folder at the very bottom.
Yes, it is.
I need that.
We started talking about this one previously. And then we tabled it because we wanted to get to RE 5020, I believe. Did you see Terry has a comment about the dates? Brian, are the dates okay? After the effect of this chapter, so would that date need to?
Page 6.
Yeah, it is page 6 and another one on page 7, I think, at least on my copy.
middle, right after section 110
Dash two, dash four,
for non-conforming signs. Says after the effect of this chapter, which is August
Oh,
1st,
yeah,
2017, we
we
probably
can
need to
look at
change
that.
those dates.
Yes. And then there's another one, number one, that under buildings, 3-1, under building expansion.
Page.
Good catch there, Terry.
Well, let's see.
So we just changed the date to today or something?
Well, that was,
The date of effect, that would be the date this, like, the city council approves the thing, so however, Brian has to figure out how to make that one.
I mean,
The date of
we can,
adoption.
actually, for the non-conforming sign, we probably ought to have a date of
Oh.
when it is adopted.
well, can it be incorporation of the new city?
No, it would need to be when
City
the
council
when
adopted.
The city council
City
adopts it.
adopts the ordinance.
Okay, and you see that the dating occurs a little bit further down at the top of page 7.
Uh, Terry had a comment about subdivision entry signs and Aaron also had thoughts on that. Terry, I mean, that Aaron responded. Anybody else have thoughts on the subdivision entry size of the subdivision entry signs? Not to exceed 6 feet in height and 10 feet in width on a placed on a landscape mountain berm up to 2 feet from grade.
Does that seem normal to everybody?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, if you have a subdivision sign, you want people to be able to read it.
Well, and I think a lot of people, I mean, they're, the ones I've seen are
Smaller.
attractive. They're at welcome to, I mean, like, or whatever it is, like
Eden
sage,
Hills,
sage, or,
Or whatever.
Okay,
I guess I don't really have a problem with that.
From like
Myself.
neon and glowing.
As long as it isn't, yeah, lit and glowing. And meets the looks,
okay.
okay,
Nathan, you had one under billboards,
Where?
already under the prohibited stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Page
Smart,
14.
okay, thank you, if it's, as long as it's under the.
That was the prohibited.
List, sorry, I was, my eyes were probably glazed over. Cause there's a lot, I was working in the middle at 2 a.m. It's already listed.
Just ignore my next comment about, because it's the same sign thing.
Monument signs,
Yeah,
actually, I think the monument signs generally look really nice and they are, and those are, yeah, I mean.
and
But
that's
anybody else?
Jackson.
What do you think about monument signs, are you, do you have any, that give any heartburn, on 110-2-9 of allowed signs, monument signs. No greater than 10 feet and the height shall be no greater than 8 feet, width of 10 feet, height of 8 feet. I don't know where they are, I wonder if it's gonna be that big.
There's one over here.
There's a monument in Eden Park or something, but it's not anywhere that big, that would be
So now
bigger than that.
these are not just any sign, these are signs for a conservation property.
Yes.
So if you have a conservation property with a sign out front,
Right.
it can be on a freestanding pole or it can be a monument.
Okay,
The question is,
The size.
you know, this is not just an advertisement for Joe's Diner. This
Right.
is,
right.
This is, we have, yes, some more, yeah,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
I'll just type as I think, you know.
I did have a few comments on.
You had a question about lumens.
Yeah, I had
That's
illuminated
what
signs,
right.
like so both, I think the schools have those big lit illuminated signs or field scoreboards. I don't really have a problem with the sizes, but could we require a time when they need to be turned off for the night? Like, they need to be off by between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. And then I just thought with an exception might be unless they're displaying some sort of an emergency message or public importance, because they might, you know, I mean, that might be a place if there's some sort of an emergency that the schools would be able to post something if there's an emergency and.
Yeah,
people need
you know,
to-
like the field lights that glow.
No,
Like
they're
square
but they're
Snow crest.
it's a sign.
It has that sign out there that say like field day Thursday, you know?
Yeah, thanks to our sponsors.
You're talking about the electronic side.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
That is
yeah, but
not,
there's scoreboard
that
signs.
is not how I took that comment at all.
This is a scoreboard sign, but
Right,
it's.
the electronic sign. Like the LED board.
Yes.
Yeah.
I took it as like a field.
Out on the field,
Like
right.
out on the field, and I'm like, well, you can't have her
Oh.
at 9 o'clock if they're still on the field.
Well, no, but when it's not.
No, this is the pole sign, so these are the pole sign, right?
Yeah.
It's out by the sidewalk that has the marquee, that
Okay.
they can swap the letters on and off. Those are generally prohibited with the exception of schools where they can have one sign that's not more than 6 by 10, and it can be no more than 15 feet above above ground. We don't have any limits on hours of operation.
Yeah, we do have limits on hours of operation.
Yeah.
I mean,
It might be interesting, I don't know, I don't live in one of those signs.
What are the quiet hours?
I don't know.
10 to 6, 11 to 6?
I think,
Anybody?
I would say, I would say in. To comport with some of our outdoor lighting goals with
Yeah,
regard
dark
to protecting dark skies, I would say. If it, unless there's an extenuating circumstance, it's a reason that school is in session at 10 o'clock, which might be parent teacher conferences, because I've been there, right? At 9 AM to 6 AM could be reasonable.
9 PM.
9 PM, excuse me, to 6 AM. If they go on at 6 AM and they say, it's a snow day, nobody's coming to school, that's good to know, but 6 AM I think is early enough.
I don't even,
Kind
I don't even know if they can turn their sign, like if they have
Yeah.
manual or their old school, you know, like, or they can do it on the phone.
they're brand new, I'm guessing they can.
I would say,
program those
I'd
to
be
do what they
agreeable
want.
with 10 to 6.
I would be agreeable with that too.
You're not always just sticking that clock anyway.
In summer, it's dark in summer, but in the winter, it's dark and. It's dark early.
I would say 10 to 6.
What if you do dusk not?
Because
Mm,
then-
no,
that's
that's.
okay.
No, that's.
So
way
5:30 PM on December 20.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think that, you know, if there's information up there and people are driving around after dinner and the evenings, I think it's fair to see it then, but I mean, I would say 9, if you guys agree 10, that's.
I think
would-
10.
I think 10 to 6.
Okay. Tyson, Fred. Fred, give the break. Fred, give the break, but we still have a good break, we had form at the beginning, you were to do it, but.
Alright, is Ryan, is that, you know?
Yeah, sorry, my mute was on.
That's
Couldn't hear
okay.
me.
Do you have anything more you would like to say about the signs primarily and the street signs, having signs be turned off between the hours of 10 PM and 6 AM? Unless there's some sort of an extenuating circumstance where things are happening.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. The only thing, I'm thinking about is in the wintertime, when we're in standard time, it's dark at 6 AM here, maybe till almost 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
I don't-
I was thinking
I don't know
that.
if that matters, but
Well, I was thinking I was thinking like in the instance of the school, if the sign went on at 6 AM. And the sign happened to say, it's snow day, no school, they can turn that on at 6, everybody would know that that was gonna happen. And there was no school, that would be another method of letting, or, the canyons closed because of an avalanche, or, that could go there. If that was something that happened to be reasonable, I don't know. But so I think 10 PM to 6 AM honors our goal to have a dark
Yeah.
skies at nights, so that we don't have all the glowing through the bedroom windows when people are trying to sleep, like me.
Okay, so we have agreement on that, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
so.
so the only.
Yeah, do we need to say students and faculty? Why don't we just say unless providing emergency communications, period?
We didn't say, I think that schools have the ability, if they are so inclined, to provide, community information in case of emergency.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Okay, so the only other thing that caught my attention was murals. And this section is for all zoning districts. I'm at the 16 at the bottom, number 7, murals.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to be a pain, I just think if it's in any zone, so my neighbor could put up a mural and I have nothing to say about it. And maybe it's just in my face. I don't know.
I think the murals, I guess I think the murals are beautiful.
They are.
And I like that no advertising, not advertising,
Right.
but yeah, I guess I'm not having, yeah. I guess I didn't see that, but
I like murals.
I don't like
See if we had.
I like the murals too. I like the murals. I'm not anti-mural. I'm just wondering, because this is saying they can be anywhere,
Yeah, it's a valid point.
do you want some sort of regulation on it, or they can show up anywhere?
I don't know, I don't see it, I don't know, I'd be more inclined to say. If you're gonna put it on your house, it's gonna be lewd, I don't know if I don't know who's gonna do that, maybe it would, but then we readdress it.
I'm fine.
If it's obscene, it can be addressed under.
There you go, obscenity, there you go,
Under new public nuisance.
there you go, nuisance.
There are communities that do require permits for murals. They can go through a community design committee or the planning commission. Oftentimes they require a written permission from the property owner. Now, if the property owner's the one painting it, then that's moot, but sometimes people want to provide or promote a mural, and then they have to go ask permission, and it's usually good to get that in writing, but
Yeah,
not all community, this is not a. It's evenly split in terms of who requires it, who doesn't, it's not
Okay, we're fine, we're
yeah, I'm okay with that,
Is there any kind of duration associated with that? Similar to say like political signs, they have to be down by a certain time. It's sort of permanent type of thing.
I look at the flag, the Statue of Liberty, the.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's one on.
Yeah, there's some vibes.
Yeah,
There's one on Katie.
Yeah.
They're on the.
Yeah.
those all have to be on barns,
That's,
which is cool. No, I love the murals. I absolutely love it.
they're pretty ones in Midway on the buildings in
And
Midway.
it's like, I look at it too as this, falling from this. I have to look down the road. I keep looking in the road.
I think a lot of HOAs are gonna like. Somebody, you have your architectural committees and HOAs.
And they're gonna,
Paint your house, Pepto Bismol pink.
in HOAs, they're gonna have their own requirements. So is it important enough for you to go through and try to create a lot more standards for murals at this point, or is it something that's that important now, or are you okay with
I'm
letting
okay.
it go for now and we can revisit it later if we need? Nothing is set in stone.
I know, and that's what I made comment on. Is that
Yeah.
we can discuss.
Yeah,
I mean, as it is now, it's probably not a problem, but. So if our goal is to move this forward so that we can come back to it, the qualm I'm starting to have though is we have so much stuff to get back to, and are we even remembering what we're getting back to?
I guess this one doesn't give me any heartburn, so.
Okay.
For me, this does not give me any heartburn. My thoughts though were, And any lighting for any of these signs, is it implicit that they must meet the requirements of our outdoor lighting ordinance? Or do we need to restate that here?
That's a good question. I don't remember if what the outdoor lighting says about.
Because if somebody wants to shine a big beacon
Typically,
mural, then I guess I do have a little heartburn with when that would happen.
at the worst, we could say that they must use they must be lit downward. They cannot
Well,
be.
so could we just include, yeah, as a standard below, any lighting, any sign lighting must meet the requirements of 108-16, the outdoor lighting ordinance?
Yeah.
Any of these have to meet that requirement. And that would make it clear to them that they would have to have covered all. Okay. Any,
Sign lighting must comply, so there is okay, so the outdoor lighting code refers to the sign chapter 110-2-12, so what does 2-12 say? Display standards. No projection within right of way, illumination, okay, so 110-2-12 subsection 2 subsection 3 illumination. It must comply with the outdoor lighting ordinances and the following provisions. All exterior lighting of the sign shall be downward directed from the top of the sign and oriented so as to illuminate only the sign. No direct artificial light shall be projected from the sign area or beyond the sign area, including by means of diffusion or refraction through a transparent surface. Direct artificial light that may be reflected or diffused
and
may illuminate or reflect onto a background surface such as a wall. So
okay. That
75 lumens per square foot.
Okay.
And if we want, they can provide photometric schematics.
Okay.
Of the sign.
The only, so then I wonder, with all of this and overarching, do we want to make sure that, and I maybe think of the movie theaters, or movie posters, that the lighting needs to be turned off, that maybe the lighting's only on during hours of operation unless other hours are specified in this section, like the schools.
Are we still talking about village or?
No,
I thought
I
we
would
were
read down to
talking
other.
about-
Just talking about
Just lighting on any of the signs. We're talking about lighting on any of the signs, and so. For example,
Yeah, we can.
backlit movie poster signs, you know, I've heard rumors of a movie theater, I don't know, but. Those, we walk by and they have the lit sign posters and they're bright, so, could we?
You can
Have that-
require.
All the sign lights be off when it's not hours of operation, all the. Their sign for lights, signs during hours of operations unless otherwise specified in this ordinance. And then we can see anybody who thinks they're gonna have a sign that they want it on later, they can comment during public comment and we can go, oh, we didn't think of that one.
Illumination. Yeah,
Brian, it would be easier if you were sitting at the table.
Yeah, you wanna come join us?
I just said we're really bad.
I was
I showered.
I was saving Fred's space. Okay, so they already added. Hours of operation, yeah. Yeah,
Okay, we ready to move, keep going?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at page 19, it's top of the page. And I made a comment, they're talking about statuary and sculptures freestanding considered to be works of art. And I just am wondering who decides that, who decides what is art?
My assumption would be the city council would decide.
my minor in philosophy would tell you.
Yeah,
I know, I have an art history minor, and so I'm saying, what is art? You know,
what page are you on now for?
top of page
Top of page
19.
19, number 12.
Okay, and then it also goes on to say, which are placed on private property. And my question is, should we be regulating what a private property owner displays on their own property?
I want a giant foghorn leghorn chicken on a knoll in a pasture.
And I think you should be able to do that,
You can wrap Christmas lights around you.
Yeah, I want it, right?
as long as you trim them up.
Are they-
For
So are we,
Page 19.
that's so it's like, it starts so loud. It's in loud.
Maybe time for you 19 to keep going up.
I don't like them. I just don't know that we should be regulating any of that unless it's on public property.
I consider it works or it's
oh,
clearly for the benefit of interest of the general public. Or on the individual, what if you said the individual or the general public, the individual property owner? I mean,
Can I share a funny anecdote
Yeah.
about this with you? So the city of Logan, years ago, I don't know if you drove through Logan 15 years ago, there used to be a fly fishing store at the south end of town called Red Lemons.
Okay.
And the owner of Round Rocks, the property's not there, it's been demolished and they built a hotel or something. But anyway, the owner of Round Rocks commissioned this enormous fishing fly constructed out of, construction rebar and painted up. I mean, it was beautiful. It was probably 20 feet long, 12 feet high, and he mounted it on top of a pole right out on the street, so it was 20 feet off of the ground. You had this giant fly just sitting out there. And the city said, you can't do that. We don't prohibit signs that big in the.
you don't allow.
We don't allow signs that big. But everybody loved everybody loved it. So what they said is it's not a sign, it's art. And so that's how they got around keeping it. And so it sat there for years even after the store was closed, it's still on the property, but
I think this is why art is in character.
I've been to a lot of places that have at least a look at that, and they're kind of quirky and fun. I think my thing here is, I don't think we should be regulating private property. And that's what I want to take out. I think, sure, let's have statuary sculpture on city property.
So there's a
It's just
lot of
saying
sculptures somewhere.
It's just saying it's allowed. It's not saying we're regulating, it's saying it's allowed there. If you wanna put something big on your property, you can do it.
Okay, which are.
I know, I have a few of those.
So there's a lot of art, statues, sculptures up in Osprey that
Yes.
they just put up there.
Yeah.
And legacy.
I misread it, I was thinking this is probably.
Yeah, I think that's fine. There was,
Obviously, that must have come up in Weaver County, that somebody complained about something on somebody's private property.
okay, political signs, there's no limit on, 60 days prior to the election.
I just changed.
I'm not
Thank you,
sure.
because this is,
There's already state statute that says.
You guys need to.
There are state statutes on when.
Yeah.
They depends whether it's gonna have one or the people that wanna have sign up.
Hey, where are you? You just jumped somewhere, where are you?
we're down on page 22.
Oh, okay.
So
So-
political signs and we have election signs.
Yeah,
So if you want to vote for Elmo and you vote Elmo a lot and you want Elmo on your front of your house year round or whatever.
you have to put a mural
Instead of doing mural, because otherwise.
or a statue.
Because currently it's allowed to the way it's written currently, the political sign could be there year round, right? Vote for Elmo.
Yeah, I would like to have that limited to as,
But
much as possible.
maybe it's not here, but my question was, solicitors to be a political
I
sign?
have a good comment, like,
Political
repeal process. I guess that's political, it's split hairs, I vote for a specific candidate.
Okay.
Well, it would be for a campaign or for a candidate too, yeah.
No, those are considered campaign signs.
Oh,
The
that's.
main signs and there's a
The
political.
political sign is by definition, an SE or an issue. That's in the legislature.
Yeah, there you go, I like that.
Where it's Tyson Boyd, that's a campaign sign.
Right.
That's the difference.
Are there state limits on those already, Brian? Or are there no limits on the political signs?
And Corbin's on also, he's gonna.
Corbin, are you there? He's like.
Oh, actually, I was trying to get a question. I'm using that. I know there's a limit on campaign signs, for sure. Yeah. I gave you co-host Corbin, so you can unmute yourself.
Hi, guys. Yes, I'm here. Sorry, they disabled my video and audio.
Oh, don't take it personally, because we love to see and hear you. We're talking about political signs at the top of page 22, and there was no time limit. We would love to have a time limit.
We don't know if there's.
But we don't know if we have, well, it said the time limit initially. Is there any sort of a state or any statute that says, puts a limit on political signs or is that just on candidate signs?
Well, I think anything that's involved with a political campaign, there is I've seen different municipalities who say you have to pick them up within a certain number of days. And if you don't pick them up, then you get fined. You can't just leave them out there forever. And so.
I think the candidate signs, here what we're talking about are, we're discriminating and saying, well, what's a political sign like if it was vote no on this, or not related to an individual, but related to an issue.
A state definition.
Okay.
This is under the state election code for political campaign signs. A political sign means any sign or document that advocates for the election or defeat of a candidate or the approval or defeat of a ballot proposition.
Yeah.
So a political sign and a candidate sign are essentially the same thing.
Okay.
Political and campaign sign under state definition are essentially the same thing.
So wait, let's write this
Yeah,
on the
we can do
state.
that.
Yeah, and let's put the limit
go with that
there for all of that. So not have no limit, let's have the limit that.
We just reference the state statute.
So it looks like political campaign sign is a little more strict. So let's.
Where'd you go there, Jenna? Okay, so this is just, so this code is just stating that if somebody wants to put it on public property, then you have to either allow it for everybody or prohibit it for everybody. You can't.
Is this like posting on like telephone poles or power poles? Okay.
I
think
power poles aren't owned by the city. It would be like in the city right of way or in front of a city owned building.
I've heard, are we allowed to prohibit people putting flyers and things all over the poles? Cause they get put there and then they never get cleaned up.
Well, and that's always the problem because you can permit them and you can permit them in lots of places. And you can also require that they be cleaned up within, I know some places that want them off 24 hours after the election or the issue is decided. How do you enforce it?
What about our last?
Well, that's not a political sign.
No, but it is a sign and I have heard lots of comments from people about why do you have paper stapled up all over?
Well, that's a whole different issue from political signs.
Right, but does it fit in this? Do we want to address it in this sign standard?
Do you have to put down a deposit? Once the signs are down, you deposit back. I don't know.
That's an enforcement issue, we don't want to address enforcement.
Okay, well,
I don't think we've.
I don't know what you're talking about,
Generally, so that would be under temporary. But yeah, let's finish the political sign issue first.
Stay first.
If my neighbor's daughter, 12 years old, lost her cat, and she puts up a lost cat sign, is that not prohibited? Is it prohibited?
Typically, most cities prohibit signs like that.
Really?
If you put it on a light post or a power pole or something like that, they are statutorily prohibited.
You see that at the post office too.
But again, when it comes,
Yeah,
when it comes down to, or a grocery store, you
Yeah.
know, but when it comes down to enforcement, who's gonna be the one out there tearing the posters down, writing tickets to little girls advertising their lemonade stand? You know, or tagging people who are trying to advertise their yard sale, you know, but if you don't, then they tend to build up.
yeah.
And so, yeah, the question is, are you going to ticket people to do it, or are you just gonna resign yourself to the job of cleaning them up after?
It gets back and enforced and.
I think, yeah, I feel like maybe, for me, we think I've hashed this out enough and I'm good with it, and then we have problems that we need to address, we address them later when there's an issue that we feel like we have to address, right? Is that, I don't know how the rest of the feel, but.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we at?
Jim, you want to make it, or I was,
Are we
I'm
done?
like, I don't have any other questions, anybody else have any other comments further down? I think we're close to that.
Wait, I wanna see what I said about.
What was the takedown for political signs?
There's a state statute with some time there.
The state does not have.
It currently says completion of the election.
Well, we
Right.
were told by Weber County was that you could put them up 60 days prior to the election, and then they had to be down 3 days after the election.
I'm part of that.
I
don't
like
know.
that, I like it,
Let's go with that. Let's go with that, that makes me.
That seems reasonable, you know, because you got 3
Yeah.
days. Some people put out a lot of signs, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so page 26, section 110-2-13, dangerous or defective signs. There's no time limit on when they have to have this removal.
It says that Brian can remove the sign.
Bailiff,
The planning director may cause.
Yeah, by
proceed with enforcement.
I would like to add some sort of time limit in there.
Would you like to give them 2 weeks from the time of notice?
November.
60 days from the time of
2
notice?
weeks.
2 weeks from written notice?
2 weeks, sure. That one's.
Or Brian will come and get them there in the middle of the night.
Hey,
Now I can.
Maybe that's it then.
okay. Jim, you want to make a motion?
So Brian's gonna make,
We already made it.
They've already made corrections.
Corrections are made.
so it's to move it for public.
Moving forward, the corrections that we made this evening.
Okay, I, Commissioner Morgan, propose that we move Title 110 forward for public review.
Fred will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. All right, now, these are some of the ones that Brian really needs to get to, so let's power out. Title 101.1, look at a file that is called General Implementation and Planning Administration.
General land use.
General Land Use Administration folder. Okay, third item down is title 101.1.
And this is riveting stuff.
It is really
It's
exciting.
gonna blow your mind.
I'm ready.
You're gonna be, this, I mean, people are gonna be lining up to scream at us about changes to this.
Yeah.
Somehow I think you're being facetious.
Okay. Did you find it, sir? Yeah. Okay. Okay. 101.1 creation, implementation, amendment and effect. Did anybody have
You did.
thoughts on that? I did, on the where practicable. Can we take out where practicable?
You sound like.
Because
On page 2.
on page 2, it's just so subject to what is practicable. So, could we just remove that and say, consideration should be given to the cumulative watershed impacts, blah, blah, blah,
Sure.
is that? Anybody have heartburn over that? You know, if you see something I'm not seeing, with regard to taking that out, okay?
I just am curious, the practical,
You know, that practical for. To the extent practical. That's all the thought I had on it. I thought that was, it was so riveting, I just.
Yeah, it's almost duplicative.
I copied and pasted it for someone else, so.
Anybody else have any comments they wanna make on this one?
Actually, I copied and pasted it from, this was from, not Ian. Who came by with the
X.
Okay, I wanna look at section
Les.
101.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
this was from Les, so,
Oh, from last.
yeah.
Here, look at section 101-1-5.
Yeah.
Effect on previous ordinances and maps. I read through that and I made this just personal, I need clarification on what that means. Does it mean that ordinances prior to this ordinance are null and void?
Okay, yeah, basically, and because this is kind of our very first ordinance. This line doesn't really apply because we don't have a prior municipal ordinance. But going forward, making new changes to the land use code next month or next year, this language is going to be necessary to create that continuity.
Okay.
So, yeah, it doesn't really apply today, but it will apply next time.
Could it be reworded so that it's not so wordy and it's a little bit more straightforward? It's very legalese.
This is what this kind of is.
It is.
That's what, that's the essence, I think, of what this kind of is, but.
Yeah, it's actually putting the ground rules for which they can operate.
Right, now I get it, but as I'm reading, I thought. I didn't know if we were compelled by previous Weaver County ordinances or not.
No.
No, that's going forward.
Okay.
And, you know, I would be happy to go through and try to make a more plain language rewrite of a lot of this, but that's it's gonna take a lot of time, so.
I think this.
I just need to know
Makes
what
sense.
it
I get
it
it.
makes sense to you, you're smarter than I am.
No,
That's all this.
Pushing a lawyer.
Yeah,
And it makes sense.
It just comes with practice.
yeah.
You stare at it till your eyeballs cross and eventually it makes sense.
Brad, do you have any comments on this? I don't know that, I haven't heard that anybody else here does, but I wanna make sure we don't leave you out if you have thought on this.
Yeah, no, I have no further comments.
Alright, how about, anybody wanna make a motion?
I, Commissioner Zanger, move this chapter 101-1 forward to public comment.
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Alright, now. 102 administration is at the bottom of that list of general land use administration. And we have a number of them we're gonna do, there's 6 of them, and it's okay.
Can we not just do the whole document?
Yeah, but, well, yeah, what are the general provisions? Well, I didn't review any of those, but I don't know why, but Brian said he needed 1 through 6, he did not say he needed the general provisions of 102.1.
Well,
1 through 6.
that's,
But, oh, it
I
is,
need-
right,
I
100%.
need 102.
No, I read them, you need 102, yeah, you need all of those.
In theory, if we were all on board, could we just vote to approve the whole?
Mhm.
102?
Oh, yeah, so we can just adopt the entire title 102, we don't have to.
Yeah,
Not trying to jump ahead, just saying.
no,
So I saw that Terry had a comment about how can there be no reason on page 7.
Yeah, oh, for removal of a
Removal.
planning commission member.
Said that Utah is an at-will state, you'd be fired for no reason at all, so why would this be any different?
It's an executive power of the, or not an executive power, it's a legislative power. There are cities that require removal, or there are cities that require cause for removal. There are some that even provide for an appeals process for the planning commissioner if they are removed unwillingly, where they can appear before the city council and plead their case. But there are plenty that just say, you know, if the mayor and city council decide they don't want you anymore, they can just show you the door. And they don't have to justify it. That's the joy of having legislative power, is they don't necessarily have to justify their decision.
Right, it's never referred to just say, we just don't want you to.
I mean, that's no reason. That's no reason. So they can release you for no reason.
Right.
Okay. It's ridiculous, but. Oh.
I mean,
I just figured.
you're welcome. You're welcome. We can recommend other additional language that would require cause for removal, but that would be up to the city council to adopt, up to you to recommend. I can provide you with language.
I'm just thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. In my mind, part of the thinking is the desire for transparency.
Sure.
And I wonder if by changing the wording so that there is a reason given, you don't even create a vacuum for rumor, right? Everybody knows you didn't show up to enough meetings, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that the cause would always be something associated with what you're doing, as opposed to some personal conflict or a disagreement on maybe an issue at stake that the 2 or 3 of you didn't agree on. And I think that's why I would like to see something changed in that so that it supports that mission of transparency. What do you guys think?
I think you have some valid points. Like with Aaron's comments too, like it is at will. I think at the end of the day, you're trying to create some more political teeth. So it's like if we just get fired for whatever reason, it's stated publicly why. And so if the public sees that it seemed petty, like there was some public record of why they got rid of you, then they may choose that one when they vote in the next election, possibly. But other than that, I don't really see any.
You know what, if I was living in a really big city, I probably wouldn't care. But I'm living here and it's a small community.
Yeah.
And I think that if in light of that small community, I think you want to foster goodwill.
What kind of language do you think we?
I don't know. That's why I put it down there, because it struck me as a little bit ingenuous that the wording just said. Is willy-nilly, I woke up on Tuesday and I want Tyson Dawn.
Right, but they still all have to vote on it, and you have to have a majority vote.
Yeah,
So it's not like the mayor can be like Terry, your advisor, and everybody else. They still have to vote.
Yeah, the town
They do.
council.
It's in here, they have to have a majority
Can't be
vote.
us. They can't remove.
Yeah.
No, this is a Corbin question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
I
for it.
don't know if I have an accurate answer for you, Jim.
Oh, that's right.
I don't have any problem with this wording.
Yeah. You've been on a planning commission before, Jim. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, but I mean, there was never an instance where, and we're talking about removing somebody.
Right.
Well, yeah, that never came up.
I guess presumably.
But like, that's
That never, that doesn't mean.
Well, I know, but there is a provision, we need to ask Corbin.
I know.
We're just speculating.
Yeah.
I mean, there are reasons outlined in the code for removal that are based on behavior or other things. But if you want to put something in to prohibit removal for no reason, I for example, we could change it to say that, the city council may remove or replace a commission member by majority vote during a public meeting, for cause. And then provide, and also if,
Or you can even say for a cause which is available to the individual privately. I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to be on public record
okay,
what that cause is. But
That's a slippery slope though, right? So you're talking about not wanting to be ousted for no reason, but what if there is a reason and it's something someone doesn't want to be made public because it's embarrassing or
that's what
criminal
I'm saying.
or whatever, and you're just saying in a small community that might be worse.
No, that's what I'm saying, that they can dismiss for cause, which it doesn't need to be made a public cause, but that person, maybe I don't want to be dismissed. That cause can be given to me individually.
about notice of
In a-
removal will be provided in writing.
Or in a closed session.
Closed session, maybe?
No, because closed sessions are very strictly regulated.
Only about specific things.
Yeah, I would say for, notice of removal will be provided in writing. And the planning commission member will be provided an opportunity to
Okay,
plead their case
Let's
to
let
the
this
city
go.
council.
it's starting to feel too,
Are we getting to?
yeah, it's getting too. It was worth discussing, and if it still bothers me, I'll bring it up.
I'm fine with it, yeah, we can, okay.
I'll put it on my
Okay.
list to come back.
Okay, we're not going to do that unless something to us.
No, we're letting it go.
Letting it go.
And we could, at some later date in the future, if we feel like we need to.
Okay.
Did anybody have were you able, can we scan through all of these down through 6 and decide if we can just do this whole document?
Yeah. That's what we're doing. Morals.
Terry, you comment about board members on page 15.
My comments are not showing up for me.
Well, it says board of adjustment. I think it's just a place where you need to leave board of adjustment instead of the appeal authority.
Not the all my comments are not, I haven't seen that.
That's in 102-3-5 procedures.
Did I miss,
I think.
And now this was my interjection, and maybe this is a good, I don't know if Corbin wants to jump in on this, or if you want to talk about, you may not even realize the difference, but a few years ago, the state made changes to, how local governments can handle appeals. And local government, the process used to be what was called a board of adjustments. And that was oftentimes, or in many cases, it was also the city council. So, they took off their city council hat and they put their board of adjustment hat on. And so if somebody came with an appeal, they would go to the board of adjustments to have a decision made as to whether or not their appeal was valid and the planning commission decision needed to be overturned. This became controversial. There are weaknesses in this, as I'm sure you can imagine. And so a few years ago, I don't even remember, it was probably 10 now, because 1995 was just 8 years ago. So a few years ago, the state changed it to allow communities to adopt what they call an appeal authority, which is instead of having the local governing body or planning authority also wear the hat of the Board of Appeals, the city can appoint a neutral third party. In often cases, it's just a local judge, circuit judge or justice of the peace from somewhere else within the neighborhood that they can call upon. And then that person, that individual acts as that appeal authority that people can come to, and many communities around the state have switched to this because frankly, it's less work and there's less opportunity for conflicts of interest to arise between the decision makers. And so I just went ahead and switched it all out from Board of Appeals to Appeal Authority. You're welcome to discuss the plan, the city council will be welcome to discuss. But the roles of the Appeal Authority and the Board of Appeals are nearly identical. It's just deciding we're only going to have one person who is not from within our community making these decisions as opposed to a body who is
Yeah.
within the community.
I am,
So,
I'm
I
okay
like
with
to
that.
cross out this sentence because it no longer applies.
oh, yeah, thank you.
That's what her question.
Glad you caught that.
Who are these board members
Right.
question?
I am fine with that, and we'll see if anybody in the public hearing has strong feelings.
I'm sure there will. I'm gonna be selling torches and pitchforks out in the parking lot.
Perfect. Anything else as we scroll through this one and finish with this one?
Angela, way down, page 24, I comment, said, I believe we're reviewing this zone. talking
Yeah,
about
that was what
immigration.
checked for the DRR zone.
Yeah, and it's gone, the R zone's gone.
And I think that's it.
I'm good with it. You guys okay to make a motion?
Yeah,
I, Commissioner Roy, make a motion to move Title 102 administration in its entirety on for public comment.
I will second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Fred. All right. Title 104. What's 104? Yeah, I'm closing tabs, I got so many tabs open.
141.
It's in the same folder.
It's in the same folder, General Land Use Administration.
Now, I did not get a chance to look at this, so.
104.1 through 4.
Lisa, I saw all your comments.
There were things I think based on our actions so far that need to be updated.
Things that have already been removed or recommended for removal, so.
So just updating this chart.
Yeah, just updating the chart to
Yeah.
reflect those that are no longer.
No longer in the queue
Yeah.
because they're going forward.
Other than that, I didn't have any issue, because that's really what all of it is.
So where we changed the, which zone did we change to hillside?
It's down further, it's that forced residential to HR Hillside Residential, that's down. There,
Page 1.
yeah. That's. If people object to HR, then you have to change this back at the next public hearing, so it all matches, but that's okay.
But we eliminated the FR1, I believe, out of the.
We've
Yeah,
got,
there's no, yeah.
Okay.
I guess we go A1, A2, or A3.
right, and that's in my first comment, that those go out. There's only 83. Okay, I think we,
This is all looking at what we did.
We still have F40 and F5.
And I don't know what Valley Manufacturing is, MB.
that's,
That's the current manufacturing code. that we have.
Oh, okay, I see you've
Got
done
the,
that, okay.
yeah, but we need to leave that, because we have that.
There are only a few properties zoned that, but.
Space.
No, R1, R2, did you got those, it looks like you've made most of
I think
these.
we have a
Yeah.
large solar energy system.
Okay.
So it's in the clock.
We're going, because, we're gonna keep going through, because we were planning to be here late anyway, so we're gonna keep going for a bit and try to get,
I'm sure. Scribes can stick your one or two.
I thought that was already arranged for in the things, is that okay? or not?
Well,
I'm sorry, I thought I sent out to everybody that we were going to stay. If it's not okay with you, we can wrap it up.
when we noticed it, we noticed it from 6 to 8. Now, when you look around the room, the only people here are ones that probably don't care about it. The only reason, if my dog pees in the house, it would be her fault.
If she has to go, can you take over as a note taker or not? If I don't wanna keep sharing here.
I have to be here till I'm the
Okay, we have, if, all I was hoping to do was get through 104 and then get a quick review maybe of shoreline because Jim and Tyson had a meeting to talk about shoreline and I don't think we're not ready to pass it, but to hear anything and we can skip that. I'd like to finish 104 if possible and get that moved on. Okay,
Are we ready to move this one? Chapter.
we're on 104. Do we think, as you scan through, if we hit everything, it was just kind of updating those. Does everybody want to? I didn't see.
What do you say, Jimmy?
No, I was gonna say, I think most of the changes I'm seeing in there.
We did it.
Yeah.
So y'all can move forward.
Yeah, so we'll remove the definitions that are not being carried forward for zones, or we will remove the zones from the table that are not being carried forward from Weaver County. Everything else really is just a procedural that
Right.
describes how zoning boundaries are set, and then this, you know.
Yeah. I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I, Mr. Staker, make a motion to push forward Title 104-1, 104-2, 104-3, and 104-4 for public hearing.
okay,
My second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The last thing on our agenda that we had, what we were gonna try to do was finish up F5 and 40. Do we need to table that or try to hurry and power through?
Brad, when you're doing that, what do you think?
Sorry,
F5,
I couldn't understand you.
F5, review and discuss and finish up F5 and F40. And do you wanna do that, now or table it?
Well, you had it on the agenda as the first item, I think, didn't you?
It's letter E. Brian had these things that he really needed us to push up to the top first and get them done for him, so we moved those all up to the top. Now we're on E, which is review and discuss edits to F5 and 40 zone and consider moving forward. Do you wanna move forward with that? We had some confusion over whether we were going to stay late because we were already planning to be late for a public hearing, so there was some confusion over that. Do you wanna try to get that one done off the table? I know you did before, or do you wanna wait till next meeting on the 30th?
I don't, whatever the group wants, majority of the group wants to do, I'm good with. One question was the agenda that was on the public notice website had that as item. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, the agenda on the public notice website had the order different than what you went through tonight. I was just asking, wondering why. But that was that. So F5-40 was B,
Because
for
Brian.
example.
Because Brian had to get things done, and I guess we had to modify it in our meeting, and it didn't get listed around, so that it didn't match. And it is.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I would just suggest that when we have an agenda, we stick to the agenda, particularly if it's distributed to the public, because they're gonna look to follow that. But if people have to run here tonight, I don't think it hurts to wait till next week to tackle F5-40.
Tyson, what do you think? I mean, as far as our shoreline and open space, sensitive lands, that's probably a 30 minute.
Yeah, that's not gonna,
Not a week
because
later.
we're still not,
Yeah,
I guess
we still,
Okay,
I feel like I don't see why we can't move forest forward unless someone has stuff that they wanna look at closer. We addressed most of those things last time.
was there anything
I
else?
saw Lisa's comments.
Forest,
Fred had asked that I add some stuff about raising waterways. And I did add some language. On page 7. Letter I. I was not as, Fred has a really cool document from someone up in Washington State, I want to say, about just proper livestock management protocols. And I tried to balance that with some just language that was not overly prescriptive on how people manage their livestock while still having some procedure in case people are watering, like destroying wetlands. So I put livestock operations shall be managed using generally accepted agricultural practices to prevent manure accumulation, erosion, and runoff from entering waterways. Irrigation conveyances or neighboring properties. When documented impacts occur, reasonable mitigation measures such as rotational grazing, vegetation buffers, drainage control, or medical management may be required. Operations conducted in accordance with NRCS standards or approved conservation district farm management plan shall be presumed compliant. So I didn't all out say people cannot have their livestock drinking in waterways. There are many farmers that do
yep.
that. But so yeah, that was the one thing that was asked, and I can't remember.
That's oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think we have a meeting on the 30th and the 31st, right? So what other agenda items would be the 30th if we?
well, we're gonna go add the next things on the list, there are gonna be a lot.
My question is, if we move these forward, do we have time considering the other agenda items for the next
If we
one?
table this one, well, we have shorelines, open space and sensitive land overlays, those are gonna go forward, those are on the. I mean, we have a working list, and so anything that we move forward doesn't have to go on the list for next time. I'm all in favor, if we feel like we're ready to move forward, I'd like us to get those in the queue to go to the public meeting. This will, anything we have tonight that we've pushed forward will be teed up to be in the public hearing that we're anticipating will be on April 14th. All of that information from this meeting, the 30th and the 31st, that gets moved forward, will get to Brian by the 1st, and that all can really go through for the public hearing that we're anticipating will be on April 14th.
Okay.
We're trying to get
Okay,
through
so we meet
things.
again next. Okay,
Monday the 30th from 11 to I think 1:30.
so we are so close to finishing this. Did we have this first on the agenda on Monday?
Why can't we just do it now?
We can, we can do it now, but then I guess
Okay,
it's this. And you guys can decide if you wanna leave it in and get public comment or take it out. We also are going to be having, I believe we've got an agricultural committee that is just going to be formed, and as they meet and start talking about things, they are going to have some input, so they may have input for the public hearing if that would be considered. And then we can go back and revisit these things.
I
Later,
vote
we'll
on
get
it to include what Tyson just read.
Okay.
Okay,
How are you, Thunder?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Okay.
I'm gonna make my.
Wait,
Sure.
may I make a comment? So
Yeah.
I had in my notes from last week that there were 4 issues. The setbacks was one, low density, 104-9-1 was what we were discussing too. Ridgeline restrictions and no TDRs.
Okay,
Those
then
are
I-
my 4 items. Did we address all those here or not? I don't think we did.
I hear you, Fred. Do you remember if those were assigned to somebody to address, or those are just questions you had?
Those were the things we talked about coming back to address in in this 104-9.
That we did reach consensus on.
So there was conversation about the issue of what constitutes low density, because that's
Yes,
one of the primary intended uses of this
that's true.
zone. Now, right now, it's F5 and F40, so you can have 1 unit per 5 acres or 1 unit per 40 acres. Is that low enough density for you?
Yes.
Then I think we've addressed it.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Very good with that, Fred?
Yes.
Okay.
And Fred, I think TDRs, we decided globally to just push those and come back overall and.
Well, and yes, and there were some of these areas that we said they're not gonna be eligible to have TDRs.
An F5 or an F40 would be more of an appropriate sending zone than it would be a receiving zone for TDRs, for those development credits.
I think we talked about that those large zones aren't gonna have, we don't want them to have a lot of TDRs
No,
to transfer out, is that what you mean?
Well,
They're not gonna,
they're not going to have a lot of, but I guess what the way I'm looking at it is a TDR, it's like, those development credits are like currency, right? And if you have 40 acres and you have one, that would give you 1 development credit in F40. So it's not exactly an area that you want to be bringing more credits into.
right,
But it's also not really going to be a place that you're going to be sending a lot of credits out of. Because, I mean, if you had 120 acres, you could send 2 development credits somewhere else.
Smaller, let's do 5 acres.
But we're not doing TDRs, we're stricken them from so much of the language.
See, these TDRs are going to take a lot more conversation to figure out how they're going, how all of that's gonna happen, and that's going to be a bigger conversation that isn't going to be completed.
Back to Fred, what was one other that you had?
What do we say anything about TDRs in here?
I don't think that there is any TDR language in the F5 or in the F zones. No.
Okay.
No language in it. Okay, so and the other one was.
That we would have to specify what the conditions.
Sorry, was somebody else talking?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brent.
Oh, okay, ridgeline restrictions.
Yeah, it was a big one, and that was the big one, you're right, and Corbin was going to try to pull some examples for us, and I don't know if we have those yet.
We do not. I need to get those.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, then we're gonna have to
I
wait,
thought to table this.
then we're gonna need to table it.
Okay.
You had a motion there.
Not anymore.
You did have a question, and there was somebody brought up the conditional uses. There are a lot of conditional uses in here. Do you want to keep them conditional uses, or as in other zones, look at moving them either from
I
permitted
think that's
to not?
I think that's what we need to work on this week and be ready to do that.
Well, I would say that our discussion of that last week was that we felt like we needed to leave those in here in this particular section.
But we also need to talk about what would the mitigating measures be? What would they have to do to meet those conditions?
Yeah, they do have that. I mean, some of them have some things over there on special provisions.
Fred, do you feel good about tabling this, or do you want it to move forward?
Sorry, what's the question?
Do you feel good about tabling this and spending more time on it, or do you feel good about moving it forward?
I think we should table it and address these issues with, the ridgeline development and so forth would be better if we did. Table it. Yeah, I'll motion the table 104-9 until next week, so we can address animal setbacks and ridgeline restrictions. Sorry, was somebody else talking?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Corbin, when can you get us some ordinances to talk about ridgeline so we can study that and be ready to come back on the 30th and have a decision.
I will get that for you. I'll put that on my agenda tomorrow and get that over to you so you've got it.
Okay, if you need a little time, even by Thursday would be great. We want you to be able to find some good ones for us. But quick would be good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
A motion to adjourn.
All second.
Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Good morning. Brian, we'll see you in the.
Bye, Fred.
Bye,
Okay,
Fred.
nighty night,
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.